Chriselda Lewis, SABC News senior reporter, has been tracking this story for us and has been quite meticulous if you really follow even her tweets, as she's really keeping us up to speed with what is happening there. Chriselda, do we now get a sense, or are starting to get a sense, of what happened in the house that night?
Well, that's right, Bongi, where you'd recall since 2014 there have been many questions raised about what really happened on the day that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. For the very first time today, in the testimony of his friend Tumelo Madlala, him detailing what happened when the first man had entered the home of Khumalo's mother in their presence, together with the others that were inside the house. Those clips that you played indicate that there was a first man who had entered the house. He described him as having dreadlocks and wearing a cap, and saying that he had walked into the house essentially demanding money and cell phones. And at some point, Twala, who was also inside the house, managed to get up and push that first man. Then some of the occupants inside the house managed to get up. He says that Khumalo ran to the bedroom and he ran towards the kitchen, and that's where he saw Senzo Meyiwa pinning a second man against the wall. At some point then, a gunshot had gone off. He ran to the bedroom, locked himself inside, and could not get out at some point. But one of the other occupants managed to open the door for him with a spoon. As in that clip that you also played, he says then he found Senzo Meyiwa lying on the floor in the dining room, in between the couch as well as the TV stand. So what we're hearing now are first accounts of those that were inside the house when Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Very emotional. Tumelo Madlala today, court had to adjourn about 15 minutes or be postponed to tomorrow overnight because Tumelo Madlala obviously very emotional about having to relive the events of that particular day. But what is quite ironic in this particular matter, Bongiwe, is that he describes the first man who entered the house as someone wearing or someone having dreadlocks. You would recall that the first suspect in this matter, who then subsequently had the charges against him dropped, was one Samombata. And then he was a suspect in this matter. The identikit that police had put out at the time was exactly of someone with dreadlocks. And certainly we're trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together at this particular point, because certainly what the Meyiwa family has been waiting for since 2014 to hear exactly what could have happened on that day is certainly coming to light in this court. They've been waiting for this moment. Earlier this morning, when we spoke to them, they said that they want to hear from the people that were inside the house. In fact, that only returned to court just yesterday when they heard that there was a possibility that those who were much closer to the incident would be appearing here in court in the witness box. So a very somber moment for them indeed. They left court this afternoon visibly very traumatized by what they had heard. So Madlala will continue his testimony tomorrow, where we will hear more details about what happened after he saw Senzo Meyiwa lying on the floor.
And Chriselda, one of the things also that is going to be, critical here is, of course, it is his version, but at the same time, the police's handling of the scene could also be something that may also put a spanner in the works, despite what, whatever hopes that the family may have.
Absolutely critical, Bongile. That's a very valid point that you make, because you must recall the manner in which police had handled the scene has really come under intense scrutiny. We've already heard inside this court that police had left the scene the first time that they arrived without cordoning it off. They did not take any swabs from any of the occupants inside the house, and also contradicting versions of events, where the forensic detective says he was assisted by one of the brigadiers at the scene. but in fact a statement that Brigadier Ndlovu, who Musia says had assisted him at the scene, makes no mention of assisting anyone. In fact, Ndlovu indicates that he did not show or assist Musia in any way because he was not in charge of that crime scene. Also, we heard from Sergeant Mtetwa, who was one of the first police officers at the scene, where he contradicts Musia's version of events, in that Musia says he arrived after Brigadier Ndlovu at the scene, but Sergeant Mtetwa's statement says that in fact it was Musia who arrived at the scene. Then he saw the task team arrive, and amongst those part of that task team was Brigadier Ndlovu. So a lot of contradicting statements and testimony we're expecting in this particular matter. And the conduct of police, what they did, what they did not do, did they follow the necessary procedures when attending to that crime scene, is going to be very critical, and even in the conclusion of what this court may find, because you would know, obviously, police would be the first people to respond to the scene, and what they found there, what they did, what they did not do, is going to be quite critical to pointing out whether police handled themselves in the correct manner.
We've got about 20 seconds, Chriselda. There was also another big issue today with the media and the handling of the witness, which also saw some adjournments. So where do we stand with that?
All right, Abongi, where the three media houses have since apologized to the court. I must admit we might have overextended our hand in the manner in which we really tried to bring information to our viewers. And as Tumelo Madlala had been coming into court, we had followed him inside court and perhaps tried to get a sense from him what it meant for him to be inside this court so many years after his best friend had been shot and killed. And the court was very unhappy with the manner in which we had followed him inside court. We've since had to apologize, and we'll be back inside court tomorrow for the start of the proceedings at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it will be live on the SABC News channel, on the SABC YouTube page as well, and we'll continue to tweet from this location as Madlala continues his testimony tomorrow, very much focused on after what he found after he had found Senzo Meyiwa on the floor.
All right, Chriselda will monitor those tweets, because when we're not in front of the screen, we're able to, see your tweets as you keep us up to speed. At the same time, remember, you can also watch it on the SABC's YouTube page. That's Chriselda Lewis, SABC News senior reporter, following that Senzo Meyiwa murder trial.